Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. It's September 30th, 2024. It's also Monday. So I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We've got quite a bit already happening, and this is just Monday with Asian markets opening prior. Now, they are already up deeply in the green and only pre-market right now. Let's see what's going on. So Chinese stocks surging over 8.5%. They've had their best day since 2008. This is because basically they have got some major intervention coming in from their central bank, just basically pouring money in, which is pushing the stock markets even higher. So we've got for the United States stock markets, the MMRI, keeping an eye on this, rising slightly. With this, we've got the relative strength of the dollar as well as the 10-year yield. Now, both of these rising slightly, okay? The relative strength of the dollar still above 100.34 right now. I expect this to start dropping again, but at the moment, kind of reclaiming a little bit of territory. So with this, we're still deep into the greed area of greed and fear meter. Now, this is showing retailers still into the stock market. Also, there's numbers from Coinbase, which shows the number of cryptocurrency accounts has increased significantly since the Fed cut rates. So a lot of gambling going on, a lot of money pouring into the markets from retailers. This is not the big money. So just as warning there. So with this, we have cryptocurrencies rose. They're actually retreating right now. Bitcoin back under 64,000. We'll watch what it does here. It could probably consolidate and then move again higher. We'll see what happens. So with all of this, we've got the other side is Japan. With their new incoming prime minister, they basically are having a bit of a drop. This is because their currency is strengthening in relation to the other currencies, as well as their bonds and the debt markets across all of the currencies. So Japan's yen getting stronger, so their stock market coming down. China, their yen is weakening, their stock market going up. The United States, as the relative strength of the dollar getting a little stronger, our markets are beginning a pullback. Now we're watching a bit of green at the moment. VIX volatility index increasing, which puts pressure on it, as well as gold showing money moving back out of stock, and futures also in agreement that it's going to be a bit of retracing, most likely for the day. Now, with our sentiment, we are watching Stellantis, talk about them in a bit, AT&T. We've got inflation will overall push stocks higher, even though we may have temporary correction today. And we've got competition for Japan and China, currency wars going on, as well as the physical wars over in Iran. Now, we had more strikes from Israel over the weekend. They killed more Hezbollah leaders, and it's going to cause more tensions, if you will, in the geopolitical sector. We've got the expected port strike that might start tomorrow that could have an effect on the market as well. We'll keep an eye on that. I don't know that they will allow that to go on for an extended period of time. That is extremely bad for the politics, and they're very much holding on to a very thin margin, politically speaking. So I expect that they would take a position in there, even though it's not really their place. Now, with this, on the stocks all rising, this is because the Fed's favored inflation gauge, consumer spending, barely rose. So this means that things staying relatively stable is the way that they're framing this. Okay. Going into our calendar, we're expecting a couple of Fed presidents to speak today, Michelle Bowman, as well as Jerome Powell speaking at a basic event closer to 2 o'clock this afternoon. We've got Chicago business PMI basically coming out. More reports coming out tomorrow, as well as the port strikes are probably relatively level today as the expectations. So with this little bit more about the U.S. Eastern ports preparing to close, because they've stalled labor talks. Now, with this, we've also got Stellantis and Aston Martin shares falling sharply because they had forward guidance profit warnings. So they are looking at cutting back on their labor. But the UAW, they're also union, is calling on Stellantis workers to approve another strike. They are accusing the automaker of contract violations. This is over the strike they just had recently. Now, they're saying basically that they are not um, following through with some of the things that they had agreed upon. So, with this, we've got Chrysler Jeep maker issuing large profit warning as they're planning to slash their inventory. Now, ironically, this is boosting their stock at the moment, but this could create some headwinds for them as the market figures out exactly what this is meaning. So, they're forecasting their cash flow coming up with this is because they're cutting jobs and having issues trying to cut their inventory. They're in serious trouble. So we'll see what this means for them going forward. Should be a pullback, even though right now investors are hearing that they're cutting costs and it's boosting the market for them. So with this, I'd like to speak about commodities just for a moment. We've got the president of Russia, Putin, is suggesting limiting, first off, uranium exports, but they're expanding this as well also into aluminum and a couple of other precious metals. So they are talking about this ban of export vital resources to the West. So this could affect supply of all of these commodities. They're in high demand right now. Can't make batteries and multiple other things, weaponry, without this supply. So with this, couple of other things before I let go out to the markets. The Russia-China alliance is expanding, and this is elevating the risk for the United States, both in Asia and the Middle East. Now, this is not just the alliance they're speaking about, it's mostly military, but they're also making a larger alliance, and this is in their payments sector. Now, this is not getting a lot of press in the news in the United States, but they are making agreements more in direct currency trade. And what this is going to do is crush financially, basically, the trade for the United States, along with that port strike, creates supply disruptions. So, with all of this together, it's making a huge headache for this going forward. And we've got a lot of things that this could cause some serious issues. So, please stock up in light of both of these. Make sure you're prepared. And another thing I would like to bring up is Hurricane Helene, the update. More than 1 million people down there still without power. Many of them don't have clean water, and they're shut off from routes in and out of this town of Asheville. There's also others around it that have suffered severe flooding. So make sure you have sources of fresh water, ways to purify your water, as well as alternate power, and are prepared for things such as this. Now, we've got a saying coming out from Nvidia CEO. I also want to bring this up. I had spoken about this prior, and now he's kind of echoing this, and he is the head of Nvidia, saying it's going to take artificial intelligence to catch the darker side of artificial intelligence. So basically, we're going to have a war of the bots coming out here, and it is up to who is training them and the direction that they're heading, because basically they are still machines, even though they can go into self-learning. What they are taught is basically what they will go forward with. So just want to mention that. And then we had Kerry coming out with talking at the WEF, basically saying that free speech is a headache for them and making the United States hard to govern. He's saying the Constitution is a barrier to ending quote unquote disinformation, the former Obama administration official has claimed. So basically, he's saying that it's a trouble by allowing people to choose their own news source, make decisions for themselves, and listen to any open news that they might find. He wants to quash this out and make only one news source that is all approved news. So Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Until I see you again, my friends, leave comments below if you would. Leave a like. I hope you have a great trading day. And until then, stay free.